YouTubers, Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to you from a hot lead zone, and this happens to be the 700th video in the hot lead zone, so welcome to the 700th video. Now this video is a 44 Magnum VR to Jim Canning. Now that's Jay Canning on his site, but he just got a hold of a Model 29 Smith & Wesson 4-inch that he got used from a friend of his, but it's hardly been shot, so it's almost like it's brand new. And then he got a hold of a brand new Ruger Super Blackhawk Stainless Steel 7.5-inch model, just beautiful. Two gorgeous revolvers, and if you want to go check them out, I'll post a link to that video from Jay Canning. That's Jim Canning. Well, Jim, what you see here in this 44 Magnum VR to you is my three Ruger Super Blackhawks blue models, and they span different time zones, but they're all heavily used, and notice that they hold up very well. So you can look forward to shooting your stainless steel model, and it's going to hold up well into your grandchildren if you take care of it at all. Jim, of course, I know, and we all know, that you will take care of those hog legs of yours. So whoever winds up with them is going to be very lucky indeed. Well, what you have here is a Ruger Super Blackhawk old 3-screw model, and I did a research on it. Happens to be 1971 that this was made, and it's a fine revolver with a real nice blue finish that Ruger put on it in those days. Now then we see here a Ruger Super Blackhawk that I got used from Arthur, and his was made in the year 1978, and I got hold of it secondhand. He didn't shoot it that much, but it's got a lot of wear and tear, even some corrosion on it, and we'll go over that in a little while, but look how well it's held up. And then this one is a Ruger Super Blackhawk recent model, year 2007 is when I bought this one. New. Notice this old 3-screw model. There are the 3 screws right there. Designates it as the 3-screw model, and Ruger actually wanted these returned to the factory to have them converted to the newer transfer bar. But notice that there's only a little bit of the hammer that's exposed past the frame. And the reason why is because there's no transfer bar in there, so that the hammer actually is against the firing pin and the hammer is more into the frame. But the way this one works, of course, is the old Colt system. Now these aren't loaded, of course. You gotta go 2 clicks to free up the cylinder, and notice that it has a reverse pawl. That's very nice. Plus it has recessed chambers, which the newer ones don't have. This is a fine revolver. I wouldn't even bother to send it back to the factory to have it converted, because this is a great revolver in its own right. And there's your sight picture. Very fine sight picture. A little bit of red model paint out there makes that front sight stand right out. Well, this one, when you fire 50 rounds or so, you have to tighten that screw up, because they'll loosen up under the recoil of full loads. But this is very manageable with these Hogue grips. Hogue grips weren't available back in 1971, but I added these recently. Now, of course, all the revolvers are safety checked. We don't have to go through all that. Just waste a lot of time. Now, this fellow range shooter named Art wanted to sell his Ruger Super Blackhawk, and Art is 91 years old, so he goes back to World War II. And his Ruger Super Blackhawk has some corrosion on it. You'll notice that there's corrosion on the hammer. That's quite common on these old guns. There's a little bit of corrosion on the top strap, some nicks on the barrel. These are all very common. But don't let that kind of bother you if you run into any old Ruger Blackhawks or Super Blackhawks, because they still shoot up a storm. And I had full confidence when I bought this that it was going to be a very fine gun for me. And so I got this one used. It's a 1978 Ruger Super Blackhawk. New model, of course. You notice that there's more of the hammer that comes out of the frame, that sticks out of the frame here. That's because of the transfer bar. So you can tell that this is a transfer bar Ruger Super Blackhawk just by that, and also the fact that there's only 2 screws here. Now, there's no 2 clicks on the hammer. To load and unload, you open the loading gate like this, and there's no reverse pull, so you have to visually line it up. See, when you go to a click, you're not on the chamber. So you have to visually line it up. Once again, robustly eject the empties like this. And if you do that, the cases will clear and you're ready to go to the next one. And when you load, you have to again visually see the lineup of the chamber to the loading gate, drop your rounds in, and then you can load a full 6 complement in this one and carry it safely that way, because the transfer bar does not allow the hammer to contact the firing pin. The transfer bar came in with the new model back in 1973. So all the Rugers after 73 are the transfer bar system. The blue finish that Ruger used after the old model, the 3-screw model, the blue finish is not quite as nice, not as glossy, a little bit more on the matte side, and that's the way the blue finishes have been ever since, but that's a fine finish. All Ruger new models are made safe. When you open the loading gate, you can't cock the hammer. So if the loading gate's open, the gun is actually on a little bit of a safe mode. Of course, there's no rounds in the cylinder. So when I checked Art's gun out and there wasn't any rust in the barrel and the cylinder was good and there wasn't any excessive play when each chamber was locked up, plus the end shake wasn't a problem. The other problems were cosmetic. I said to Art, you should have seen Art, 91 years old, but when I handed him the cash and he took it and bounced into the gun store to purchase his Ruger Blackhawk 357 convertible, he was like a boy. He was like a young boy again. It was good to see. So I bought Art's gun within the last year, but I'd already bought this one in 2007. This one is the Ruger Super Blackhawk, essentially the same gun as the 1978 model, transfer bar ignition. This one has the matte blue or almost matte blue finish. Very fine gun, and again unloaded. But I really enjoy shooting this one a lot. All 3 guns are very accurate. So Jim, as part of your VR, let's discuss some loads that are really fine in the Ruger Super Blackhawk and your Model 29 Smith & Wesson 4-inch as well. First of all, the prototypical Keith semi-wad cutter, 245 grains to 250 grains, the Lyman 429-421 mold. And this is what they look like when they're loaded. Now a full load would be anywhere from 20 to 22 grains of 2400 powder. That's a full Magnum load. And then if you want a mid-range load, 10 grains of unique. And I've shot a lot of these loads. They're really fun and powerful and cause your 44 Magnum to really sing. Now if you get tired of shooting the full Magnum loads or the mid-range loads, you can shoot cowboy loads. And this is a 200 grain round nose flat point Lee bullet for the 44. And here's what the loads look like with that bullet. And my favorite load with that bullet is 6.5 grains of unique for a light shooting cowboy load, around 750 feet per second. Lots of fun shooting these, and they're accurate as well. Now a very fine load all-purpose would be the 240 grain Lee semi-wad cutter tumble lube bullet. And loaded with 7.2 grains of promo, it'll get you 970 feet per second from your revolvers and 1150 feet per second from your lever guns. Suitable for almost any use, including hunting. Well, Jim, I'll look forward to hearing about your exploits shooting your Model 29 or your Ruger Super Blackhawk in the future. It's going to be good shooting to you, and bye for now.